What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at Flash Thompson's Agent Venom. That's right, the new retro cards, they've started to trickle out, so this is the first of the bunch. Let's see what we've got going on. Let's check it out. As promised, today we'll be taking a look at Flash Thompson's Agent Venom. Let's see what we've got going on. Taking a look at the package, of course, we are on the more modern retro card, right? The newer logo, Spider-Man stuff. It's really grown on me. Not something I was super into at first because there's no nostalgia tied to it. But I do like the overall design. That purplish pink background with the blue webbing really balances off that red and yellow Spider-Man logo. So it's growing on me for sure. You've got the great image on the side there of Flash Thompson, Legends series at the bottom. There he is. You can see everything you get there. That's why I like these carded backs, right? You've got the extra hands, weapons. You've got the extra head, masked and unmasked. Like it, like the options there. Flip it to the back. You can see you've got the image of Agent Venom up there. There's the rest of the wave. Some really cool stuff in there. Certainly looking forward to Kane and Chameleon, but I like some of the other options here as well. There's your blurb. When Flash Thompson bonds with an alien parasite suit, he's granted spider-like powers as Agent Venom. Important information down at the bottom. Let's get him out of the box. Fresh out of the packaging, this figure looks good. Certainly a needed update to the Agent Venom figure in Marvel Legends. Now, you can get into all you want about like Amazing Yamaguchi companies and like that and other things, but strictly talking Legends here, right? So absolutely a needed upgrade for the Marvel Legends version of this. Get rid of those ball hips. Get it a lot more new stuff going on here. You've got 3 sets of total hands, so I like your options there. You've got 2 heads, 1 masked, 1 unmasked, like I already said, so I do like that as well. Weapons, nothing special, certainly reuse of things we've seen before, but he does come with multiple weapons, so I will take that. Let's take a closer look. Moving in closer, we can get a good look at the unmasked head here. Now, to me, for my money, that's a good Aaron Eckhart likeness, so I don't know if that's the goal here, but certainly could play any of his characters, right? You want to make a custom Two-Face there, I think you got the option, but looks good. It's a good head sculpt, really good detail in there, really good life to that head sculpt, so I do like that. Now, probably won't be using the unmasked head sculpt, but the fact that we got it, you know, it's cool. I'll take it. Body armor looks really good. All of the accessories to the body armor look good. It's a good looking mold. It's gonna look good on the shelf. Again, I can't say enough about how much this figure needed an update, and I think this delivers pretty well. When you pop the head off, there is your ball peg system that you have in there. So that's not my favorite, but it does give you a good amount of range around. I do feel like it limits you upward and back, but still, that's what you got there. Here is your masked head. Again, probably what I will use in my display. And when I say probably, it is what I will use in my display. I just kind of prefer that. But to the benefit of the unmasked head, I feel like you could put that in for just a general civilian too if you wanted to build something out like that. Here he is with the VHS 2-pack Flash Thompson head. I think that looks pretty good. I kind of like that more than the one that came with it, just from an aesthetic standpoint. Here he is with the head sculpt from the previous Agent Venom. Doesn't look too bad. It's a little bit more thin than the new one. Certainly a little bit shinier. But you can see the eye portion gives you more of that goggle look. I kind of like how that protrudes a little bit more than the flat look. But if you have both, then you certainly have that option. For your hands, you do get your trigger fingers, which is good. You definitely want to see that. You get a set of open hands. And you get a set of fists. So a good amount of options depending on what you want to do. Trigger fingers are probably going to be the most popular out of this, but gives you some variety. Trigger fingers are on your vertical hinge. Everything else is on your horizontal. Here are your weapons. Both of these we've seen several times through the Legends line. While I would have loved to have seen a new gun, a new weapon put into the line, I think I'll probably just deck them out with, there's some Valaverse Action Force weapons packs that come with plenty of cool options, so I certainly want to deck this dude out. Sidearm goes into the holster right there, no problem, so you can pop that in there, looks good. As far as your articulation, the head will only look down to about there, so not even touching the base of the neck, if you can see down there, and then up to about there. Again, why I don't love the ball peg system for this neck. It doesn't really give you a lot of back and forth, but you do get a lot of good range around, so it does have a benefit there. I like a little bit more back and forth. Your shoulder epaulets, they are a separate piece. You can see it goes into the shoulder there, so you can move those freely as needed. Arms do move all the way around up to there. You're limited by that, but you can get it a little bit more if you try. Upper bicep cut, double jointed pinless at the elbow. You can see that there. Nothing at the forearm, and then your hinge at the wrist. You do have the dumbbell and the diaphragm there, which gives you a lot of motion around. What I don't like is you get nothing at the lower abdomen. No hip swivel, no bend, nothing. So he's static at the waist there. Leg kicks up and out to there. Back only to about there, and then with the gun in the holster, up and out to there. No gun gets you out to about there. Upper thigh cut, double jointed, pinless at the knee. Nothing at the boot, and then hinge and swivel at the ankle. I will say the plastic is not gummy on this. The plastic feels good, so no weird warping or bending in the knees or elbows. One thing I would have liked to have seen, and it's like the one time they don't have a peg hole in the back of a figure, but if they would have, and you had this, then you could, take this from the previous release and port it on the back to give you that symbiote effect. That to me is a big miss on this figure. It's fine. It's going to display fine, right? But I would have loved to have transferred this piece over to the new one. For comparison, here he is backed up against our previous Agent Venom. The new one comes in a little bit shorter and a little bit slimmer. You can see the previous release had a little more bulk in the upper torso area, and the height definitely shows you just a little bit. You can see here the symbiote piece ported into the back of the previous release. So the option could have been to have kept a peg hole in there, and then people would complain that there's that hole back there and they don't have the piece. But for those of us that do, we could just move that over to the new one, or give you the piece with the new figure, right? Either of those, but you don't have it. If you are looking for options, I guess that's good for you, so you don't have to worry about that kind of thing. But I do think it would have been a nice addition. Here he is backed up against the Agent Anti-Venom. We are most certainly going to get an update of that. It's just going to be a simple repaint of this, so why not, right? Makes for easy money. Now, one thing that the newer one is kind of lacking a little bit in my opinion, some of the details between the Agent Anti-Venom and the Agent Venom, like in the belts, there's a lot more going on there, some extra painted details that you can see on like the epaulets up here, all that belt stuff in there. Now the gun is molded into the holster there, and that's annoying, so I'm glad that's gone. But look at all the extra accessories that are on that utility belt, right? Just gives it a better, like more military look, and I like that. Finally, here he is backed up against Mania, and these two pair well together. I like the aesthetic overall. That's going to be good for a lot of collectors. So the two of these, I think they'll display very nicely on a shelf together. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. There is your Marvel Legends Agent Venom. He's Flash Thompson. He's coming out in the new retro card wave. Some of these have started to hit the shelves. I've only been able to find 2 so far. They were at Target. I feel like they were coming out a little bit earlier than expected. February seems to be the date at most retailers, so a nice surprise to stumble upon these, especially after seeing some people post some photos. That aside, I do think this is one that is worthy of the upgrade. For those of you who have been holding out and not going backtracking to get that other Agent Venom, you lucked out. I mean, you didn't have to spend the upward price that was on that Agent Venom. You're getting a new one here, doesn't have the ball hips. What it lacks in some of the design elements on the previous version, I think it makes up for in sturdy articulation and an overall nice figure. You get plenty of hand options, you get the extra head, unmasked, masked, depending on what you want to display. Would have loved to have seen some more weapons. Even if it is all reuse, I would have loved to have seen more, but I certainly would have loved to have seen new weapons. Of course, it's always going to be a thing, but weapons are weapons, and glad that they at least put some in there. The overall aesthetic of the figure, like it. I like what they've done. Certainly replacing mine, although I would have loved to be able to have the option to use those symbiote tentacles in the back there. That to me was probably the only major miss on this figure, right? Other than that, I do think it is a worthy upgrade and certainly worth going out there and getting. Folks, that's the 2 cents. Do what you want with that information. I do appreciate you checking out the video, staying this long if you have. Of course, you can always find me on any of these socials down here. Most importantly, though, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe below. And until next time, take it easy.